guess we'll have some models. So with Stephanie's hair, see, it's beautiful, right? It's color treated. And how many of you are familiar with Pureology? Everyone, anybody new to Pureology in this room? Never used it? Perfect. So Pureology is basically made for color treated hair. We've been the #1 market leader for actually keeping colored hair in. And so what we do, we have everything that's made for everybody, made for fine hair, thick hair, anything that you want more volume with, or super thick hair that you might want to get straighter. So we can do that for everything. What we're going to do with Stephanie's hair, she has one panel colored hair, right? But a lot of times what happens